You're listening to the Travis Makes Money podcast. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Travis Makes Money podcast. This is a special edition. As you guys know, most of these are done over Zoom, but every once in a while we get the opportunity to sit down in person with a guest. And today's guest happened to be in town doing a couple speaking things, doing some podcasts, and so we were able to link up. Garrett White, welcome to the show.
Hey, excited to be here. Been a couple of years. We did a show a few years ago.
I was going to say, this is not the first time.
No.
This is not the first time. Yeah, the first time we had you on, talked a lot about backstory and all that kind of stuff. So we'll kind of quickly recap that a little bit. But if you are curious to hear more about Garrett and his background, where he comes from and how he got to where he is, then you can go check out that previous episode. Let's dive in, dude. You're in Vegas for a couple events. You're doing some speaking, but you're also doing a big promotion right now because you're about to do your first exclusive live in-person event in years, right?
Years.
So tell me about that. How'd that come about?
So we, I've been running Wake Up Warrior for the last 13 years. Prior to that, I was in banking for about 9, banking, insurance, and real estate.
Yep.
Lost all of that in 2008 to 2009, like a lot of young rookies in the game of making money.
Yep.
I wasn't really an entrepreneur. I was more of a hitman who called myself an entrepreneur. And that was proven with the fact that we didn't really know how to save the business. So I tried to do everything I could to save the business. We pulled millions of dollars trying to save the business. We took all the resources from the company to try to save the business. And then I made the faulty mistake of all mistakes. I couldn't fire people, meaning I didn't have the courage because I'd hired all my friends and family, had 100+ people working for me. And so I thought, we've never had a loss. I was a PE teacher. Yeah. Came from no money. Lived in trailers in Stockton, California with my parents and family for most of my life. Had no concept. So this was the first time I made money. And when you make money for the first time doing a thing, you don't realize that there's like a million other things you could do to make money.
Right, yeah.
But you just like, I was broke, then I did this thing, I made money, this must be the only way.
And you become like an evangelist for that thing, which is why all of your friends and family are working for you. Because like I did the same when I was first started making money. It was all door-to-door sales, and I tried to get all my friends to do it. Yeah, I was just like, bro, this is the coolest thing ever. Like, we can go knock doors. We can do it 20 hours a week, 25 hours a week, and you can make 6 figures doing this. You know, I was like, oh, this look at this paycheck. Let's go. Let's do this. And I go recruit all my friends, and then nobody made any money. I was like, maybe back to the door. Like maybe this isn't for everybody. You know what I mean?
Oh, dude, door-to-door sales is intense. My son tried that for he was super stoked about it, and he went out in California and got hired by the team. Went out for like, I think he made it 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's about the limit.
Yeah, he would sit in his car and cry at the end of the day, going, how hard? So I was raised in Mormonism. And so right. I went on a 2-year Mormon mission. So knocking doors and getting rejected and getting my ass handed to me was kind of, I was over it by then.
Oh yeah, totally.
Which is why most of the dudes who crush in door-to-door sales
doing the same thing. Yeah, it wasn't Mormon. It was independent fundamental Baptist. So fundamentalist Baptist. But yeah, we were knocking doors every weekend, man.
Knocking. Dude, the religions that do that with kids, it's actually, dude, I think at some level, if you don't have that experience, you should go to the military, do something to like teach you discipline.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
rejection.
And rejection.
Yeah.
I mean, we just got to a point. I served my mission for Mormon Church in Miami.
Oh, really?
Which is where I learned Spanish.
No way.
That's why I can still speak Spanish fluently. So it's good. So there's a lot of gifts that came from that. But that entire, just like in that, when like door-to-door sales and mortgages, when it ends, you think it's great, and then it ends. And then the chaos began. So I took all our personal money, and I took more money and took more loans, thinking I could save the business. There was no saving the business. The wilder part is prior to that, I had a mentor who in the real estate space who had been there, he'd been probably like 45 years in building and construction, and he was dying. And we were sitting on a boat in Bear Lake in Utah, like 9 months before the move in the market. And he said, sell everything you have, go to cash.
Wow.
Cut your team down to a minimum team of just minimal, like 10 people. Sit for the next year to 2 years, and you will become wealthy. Now, like all idiots, I heard him, and I'm like, well, this old man is
How old were you?
I was, 30 years old.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm like, what does he know, dude? Does he not know what we do?
Yeah.
Jesus, dude. Like, we're killing it. If we made like $1 million mistake, we'd just go sell more mortgages or do another real estate deal. We'd do But it was easy then. We're just monkeys. We were idiots. We didn't know what the fuck we were doing. We could sell.
Right.
That's what we could do. We could sell.
Right. Well, people were making money who couldn't sell back then.
For sure.
Yeah. With
half my guys were
zero down
idiots.
loans, stated income.
Nina loans, option arms, which was like our specialty. So by the time when it all hit, not only did I listen to my mentor, then I just did everything the opposite of what you should do. And so that left us buried. And my wife had no idea, but she had a sense that it was coming. By the summer of 2008, I had come to her like, literally, we have nothing.
Yeah, yeah.
Credit cards are tapped. Money's gone. Business is gone. I had to let everybody go. Worst 2 days of my life. Grown men sobbing because these dudes are all built, got big houses and cars, and now the money's fucking gone. And none of us have a mindset of abundance to even realize we could go do something else. So that happens, and I make a decision not to go back into mortgages. I was like, I'm not going to do this again. But I also wanted for the next couple of years. Just literally in darkness. An affair, addictions, leave the religion I was raised in. Everything I was about, look, God was flipping it. I didn't call it God at the time. I just could hear this impression in me, this voice was like, hey, you've got to shift things.
Yeah.
This isn't working. Marriage wasn't working. Now the money's not working, which exposed how much the marriage wasn't working. And I was left with this dark hole.
That's a big thing. The money exposed the marriage. Yeah,
Big
because
time.
if things are going well financially, you can kind of just bury it and not really talk about it, not really think about it. You're not forced to like address those big problems, those difficult conversations that you have to have, but you're just like, I got work to do.
Yep.
Let's you just bury yourself in this side of life and just avoid all of this. But then all of a sudden this comes crumbling down. You're not spending 60 hours a week at the office anymore. It's like, it gets pretty awkward when you're just sitting there with you and your wife in a downsized version of the life that you were just living. And now you're forced to confront it, or you're forced to leave,
Well, this is a situation every entrepreneur's ever put themselves in. And particularly, like, I think about all the women attached to these guys like you and I. I just mentioned your wife. Like, your decisions and how you move affect her, affect your 2 children, affect their future, your legacy, who they become, what they believe is possible. So I'm crushed in this and faced with some serious decisions to make. No clue where I'm supposed to go. No clue what I'm supposed to do. I had $13,000 in cash. I'd met this guy named Ron Zeller, who was a Landmark Forum leader, and he was in his 70s. And I just was drawn to him, and he offered me an opportunity to mentor with him, to coach with him for $10,000. I had $14,000 in cash. And I remember I'm shoveling the snow in this driveway. I'm about to short sell. And I'm like, I just had this awareness. If I make this payment to the bank today for this mortgage, which was like $12,000, if I make the payment, I'll feel good for about 2 days. And about a week from now, I'll be fucking stressed out because I won't have the mortgage payment for next month. Like, that's not possible. And I'll still be dumb. Like, that's the fucking problem. It's not like I'm going to be being smarter. I'm just going to have less money. I still don't know what to fucking do. I'm like, still dumb and still can't pay it. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to make a wild decision. I'm going to hire this guy because at least if it doesn't work, all I've done is put myself back. I mean, worst case scenario, I learned one thing.
Yeah.
The very first conversation we have, he says, we've got to have a conversation about integrity because you are completely out of integrity in almost every area of your life, which was true. And this is where the birth of the foundation of the Wake Up Warrior movement, the birth of the Man in the Arena project events we're doing. It's where 13 years and 70,000 men I've guided over the last over decade. This is the foundational conversation. And it started with this call with Ron Zeller back in 2008.
Just somebody that was willing to be honest with you? Like, what was it?
He was a Landmark Forum leader. Are you familiar with Landmark? So Landmark is like a very intense training that built for the mind. Like, they have training systems all over the world, and they train hundreds of thousands, up to millions of people.
Okay.
And you sit in these rooms for 3 days, and they teach you to rethink.
Okay.
Questioning things, reframing reality, but everything starts with this idea of integrity. So that was the only thing I had. And I realized that working with Ron was, I don't have any money, I don't have any network, I don't have any resource, all my teams are gone. My partners all went bankrupt. All the debt rolled to me. I never went bankrupt, but I was close to it. I held on, everything rested on me. All the people I'd helped So many people I'd helped over 5-6 years prior to that, paying for their kids to go to rehab, paying for kids to go to college, just giving them money to help people. No one showed up. Not one fucking person showed up.
Isn't that interesting?
Just myself there. So I'm like, okay, what do I have? The truth. Well, shit. That's the only thing I have. I can't give anything else to anybody except for the truth. Now, what I didn't realize was how difficult it was going to be to tell the truth. Because people talk about authenticity all day long on the internet now. Back then, hell no. Nobody's talking about authenticity. Like, tell the truth. About what? Well, tell the truth about everything.
Yeah.
Well, what do you mean about everything? Yeah, no, not just happy, clappy shit they talk about in Bible study or church. Not just a positive mental attitude. No, talk about the dark shit. Talk about all of it. And be public with it. So I would go into networking events and business events back then. And I have anything. So they'd be like, who are you? What do you do? And they would go around a circle and come to me. Who are you? Okay, so my name's Garrett White. It was before I put the J in, which is my middle name, which is my rebirth name, Garrett J. White. So I freak the fuck out when I go to events and speak, and it's got Garrett no J. White. I'm like, what are you doing? You bringing my old self
who is
back.
that?
Who the hell are you talking about? And he's fucking dead. Put the goddamn J in there right now. He needs to be, he respect this game. And so I'm sitting there at this event, and it's the very first time I got Bill Barron. Who else is next to me? John Assaraf. I got like these dudes who were like guys I've mentored, like looked up to. Like, all right, you're up. I'm like, okay, so I'm Garrett White. I had no money. I have no business. I just had an affair on my wife. She's probably gonna leave. I have an addiction. I'm drinking too much. And I don't know where the fuck I'm going. I don't know where I'm going. I know where I've been. I burnt my business to the ground. I have nothing to offer except for the truth. And I kept going off, and we get done, and the whole table's just like,
yeah, captivated by the realness.
Yeah, dude. There's no Instagram, no Facebook was barely a thing, no TikToking. There was no people talking their truth on the internet. Nobody was talking the truth. Keith Ferrazzi had written a book called Never Eat Alone, and he wrote another book that was talking about candor. It was his new one he was releasing. And I'd met him and read his books, and he was talking about this whole thing. Hey, candor wins. Then I was watching 8 Mile by Eminem, the rap battle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? The very end, he does and exposes himself. He just says all the bad shit they're going to say about him.
Took everybody's power away.
And then threw the mic to the dude and said, hey, why don't you tell them something they don't already know? And a light bulb went off. I was like, holy shit. I'm a fucking liar. But if I'm a truth teller, I expose all the liars around me. Because every other dude I know is a fucking liar too. Wow, what am I onto here? So then I just went ape shit with it. As radical as I could be. There wasn't a lot of relevancy to what I was saying most of the time. I found out relevancy matters. And that you probably shouldn't just unload all your shit on everyone all the time.
Right.
But even simply...
context exists.
Exactly. And I felt also like in a place too where like I'd walk in and people, like you go up to people like, how are you doing today? Typical response is what?
Yeah, great.
Yeah, good. Yeah, great. Yeah,
fine.
Good, fine. And people walk up to me, how are you doing? Not good. Yeah. Not doing good today. Haven't had sex in 3.5, 4 weeks. Wife doesn't want to touch me. I'm really not sure what the fuck I'm doing every day.
Standing in the Starbucks line.
Exactly. People are like, dude, I wasn't even asking you that question because I wanted a real answer. Yeah. I just see you're supposed to say, I'm fine.
How dare you answer me with the truth?
Exactly. What are you doing, dude? So I started seeing the impact on people around me. And that truth led me to a whole bunch of experiences, which ultimately became the Warriors Way system, which is I figured out I put KPIs to my life. Not just with money and math, because that was easy. But how do you know if you're a good husband? Like, how would you know this?
Yeah, that's a good question. I guess just talking to my wife.
So that's one way, right? Validation from your wife. You're like, okay, well, and the problem with women is that they're up and down, which means you could do shit today. She's got 164 crayons in her box. We got 4. Ours are real fucking easy. Like the big fat ones, like your daughter uses.
Yeah.
Just the big fat 4-color, got like a yellow, a red, a green, and a blue. And it's like, here's your crayons, go. That's dudes.
Yeah.
Then you got women, 164 crayons, different shades, and they change every day. So you pick up like the fuchsia one today, and you're like, oh my God, my wife loves me. She touched me. We had sex. We're on it. It's amazing. This must be the crayon. Tomorrow you pick up the same crayon up, you get in trouble. You're like, I don't know, what's wrong with you? I picked up the same fucking crayon I picked up yesterday. It's not working.
Right.
So that complicated game for me birthed ability for me to build a system that would measure if I knew I was being a good husband. I was going to be a good father. I was making money. I was good with God. I was good with my body. And this birthed into a way of looking at even money different. Because I didn't have any money.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole show here is about making money.
Well, you had negative money.
Negative money.
Yeah.
So here's the crazy part. If you take a dude who's trying to make money, and people say, well, I got a business problem. They'll tell me, well, I got a business problem. Like, cool, well, tell me about your business problem. They'll tell me some marketing, it's blah, whatever. I'll say, all right, cool, we're going to put that over here for a second. And I'll come straight to marriage on 3 topics. Talk to me about your communication with your wife. I'm like, what do you mean? How honest can you be with your wife? Like, in your relationship, you've been with your wife for 16 years?
16 years.
Been married for 11?
Married for 11, yeah.
Okay. When you look, how would you describe your communication with her?
Open and radically honest, even if it hurts.
Okay. Has it always been that way?
No. When we first got married, no.
When did it shift?
Probably 5-6 years ago. Somewhere around there.
What happened to make a shift?
Yeah, we basically were almost getting a divorce at the time. Yeah, it was just a rough time. We were both just kind of like, what are we doing here? You know, we
Was your son born yet?
No, this is before. So, yeah, so it had been before that. So maybe 6-7 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it just got to the point where I just had that conversation where I was just like, this is how I feel. And we had a good cry about it, both of us.
Yeah.
And she told me how she felt, and we cried about that.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of dawned on us that if we keep hiding from the truth, it doesn't go away. It just gets pushed down.
So
and
true.
That only, if you extrapolate, if you follow the logic, it doesn't make sense.
No.
You know, like if your goal is to be together for a long time, then 30 years from now, there's obviously we're gonna be doing this.
Yeah.
Where we end up over here, and then we're just kind of co-parenting and cohabitating because we were doing it for the kids or whatever. And it's like, well, I knew enough at that point just to look at her and basically be like, I don't want that version of a marriage.
Yeah.
So we either need to like call it quits now or figure out a way to move forward. And that was what it was for us.
How did you? So, like, listen, bro. I work with you're, like. So we're at the 10X Growth Conference right now, doing some side events, doing some things, etc. And I've got 65 of my guys there in black with weird T-shirts on. And I brought them because I want them to experience 10X, but I also wanted them to experience the attention that comes in rolling as a tribe, as a gang. So all of them are in conversations. Like the whole last 2 days, have been in conversations with like 30, 40, 50 different guys, each guy. And then we meet at the end of the night and we talk about it. And they're like, dude, these guys are fucking dying, just like we were. I was like, no shit, 90% of dudes are dying. And the courage to do what you did is a courage that does not exist in 90% of men.
Yeah, it's true.
Married men. What was it for you? Because it's different for everybody. What was the switch? Like, was it a night? Was it like was it a series? Was it like sex was not working? Like, what was happening that had you finally just say, I can't do this. I need to tell the truth to her?
That's a good question, dude. I don't remember like a specific event. It was more just, so my background, grew up fundamentalist Baptist, very cultish, grew up, I graduated kindergarten and college on the same campus.
Oh, wow.
Which was also where I went to church. So very much a bubble.
Your whole life.
Yeah, my entire life. 20 years that I was raised basically almost 7 days a week there.
Same kids, same everything, teacher, everybody.
Teachers are your coaches are your youth leaders.
Yes.
You know, it's all, incestuous within the community, you know, which has some pros, but it also has a good amount of cons. And I was coming out in my early 20s basically realizing that I didn't subscribe to a lot of that stuff anymore. And I went through that experience alone. And I didn't talk to my wife about it, didn't talk to my friends about it, didn't talk to anybody else about it, because I knew what the response was going to be. If you grow up in something like that, you are programmed to respond to somebody who's backsliding a certain way. So I knew what the response was going to be. So I just like hid it and kept it bottled up. So I was just coming out of that experience where I felt like I was finally like seeing some progress there. And the only way that I got out of that was just finally being honest about how I was feeling about it. And so the marriage thing was like just kind of right on the tail end of that, and a lot of it kind of stemmed from that too, because we kind of felt like we were rushed into marriage in that context, like in that world, like if you're 23 and unmarried, like you're old.
That's
you know what I
Mormonism
mean?
did same way.
So we got married at 21, and this is how you do things. But then when you start switching everything about what you believe, you start going like, do I even believe in marriage? Do I even believe in this institution? Is this like it's something that I wanted to do, or did I just do it because that's what you're supposed to do? And so that was really kind of the broader context of the conversation, was just like I felt like I was like just burying down this feeling inside of me because I knew that if I expressed that it would not be a fun conversation.
Was she all in? Did she believe?
At the time, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So were you guys married when you left?
Yes.
Did she stay and then you left?
Yes.
So what did this do?
That was around the time where we were like basically looking at getting a divorce because because there was so much tension caused. Because it's not just leaving the community. It's like I changed everything about my entire belief and value system. Yeah. So at that, it was almost like me trying to give her an out to be like, look, the guy that you committed to and said I do to is not me. Yeah. You know, and I have complete empathy for that. And I love you and I want to be with you, but I also understand if you don't want to engage with this new version of me, because I don't see myself ever being that again. And if that's like the basis of the foundation of our relationship, like it's just not going to work. So it was just kind of like an opportunity to recommit to who I was becoming. Yeah. And then it kind of drove her into, for the first time ever in her life, and if she was here, she would say the same thing, where she had to go inside of herself and look for validation internally from her instead of looking at it from me. And then that's what kind of led her to kind of go down her own journey of self-discovery and figuring out what she really believed, rather than just believing everything everybody told her to believe her whole life. So we eventually, obviously, we ended up close to the same page on the majority of those things, and made it through a few of those rough patches, went to therapy and talked it out and stuff. And, you know, that was 7-something years ago.
Did she stay is she still in the church or no?
No.
Okay, she's out.
Yeah.
So like let me back up on a couple things here, because like this people like ask me like, why do a man arena tour at all? Yeah. Right? I don't have to do this event. I want to do this event. Yeah,
I was just at your house in Miami. I can vouch for the fact that you don't have to be doing this.
This is like, dude, I'm like what the fuck? Like it's like, why are you doing? Literally, this question people ask me, why are you? Even my wife was like, why are you doing this? And I said, here's why. Here's why. For the exact moment that you had. So just I honor you for the fact that you had the moment. You had the courage. You had the moment, because most fucking guys don't have the moment. They lie about what they're feeling. They allow the marriage to drift. They endure to have a few more kids. They endure, and this inevitably leads this dude to cheat. Like 80% of the time, which then creates more problems. You're back over here having the hard conversation, not only about leaving the religion you're raised in, but now you're confronting this new reality with your wife. When I could create a container for 7,000 men to be in a place where they can hear this message of truth from men who have done it, it creates a lid of permission for this man to do what you've done, but they're not doing it. And most guys are hiding behind religion, they're hiding behind the business, they're hiding behind bullshit, they're going to
shame,
porn and jerk.
Guilt.
But that's it. That was the dude I was talking to this morning at the gym. Same situation. He's like, dude, your program saved my marriage, saved my life. He came and saw us at the gym this morning. I was like, tell me about it. What happened? He's like, we had the young babies, and I was like in porn. She was not. We were not having sex. We hadn't been having a lot of sex for years, and I was addicted to porn. And I was like, even though I didn't want to be with her, like it'd been like a year and a half, we hadn't had sex, and I just was like locked in this chamber of guilt and shame and fear, but I couldn't get out. And then I found your stuff. And he was one of my coaches, and Coach David was helping me break this, create that opportunity that you had. But the fact you did it on your own is fucking incredible. That's how it happened to me too. I didn't have anyone. I was like myself. I had to come to that same realization of truth. Now, the wild part is, think about the craziness of marriage, particularly guys like entrepreneurs building businesses. You're growth-minded, yes. When you have a growth, is your wife growth-minded?
Yes. Now.
I can see it now. I mean, she's all in here hustling, making me making me this amazing bowl of greatness. And she's running the shop. She's a little entrepreneur, doing her thing and crushing it, managing her people. Dude, she's not the same person every 6 months. You're not the same person. Think about how crazy monogamous marriage is. You have two people who, if they're growth minded, which is God's plan, they're both growing. This means every couple months, you're not even married to the same fucking person anymore.
Yep.
Which means their likes and wants and desires change, which means kind of circling out, and then you have to recommit to this new version.
Constantly.
Recommit. It never ends. It's just constant recommitment. Which, if you don't have honesty, it's impossible.
Correct. Yeah.
Now, are you guys both running Everbolt together?
She does 90% of it. Since I have a little bit more business experience, it's kind of, I almost am more of consulting in a sense, but she's crushing it by herself
awesome.
mostly.
What's the difference you see in your wife now, being an entrepreneur with her thing, versus when it was just you and your things? I realize you're part of it with her, but this is kind of her baby now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. What have you noticed different in her as a woman?
Oh, dude, it's so funny.
Having this.
It's so funny because we talk about it from the perspective of her understanding more how I've felt being an entrepreneur, just like dealing with the nightmare and the headache of employees, and it's your brain is constantly running. You don't have an off switch. You're constantly thinking about it. But it's also funny because I've gotten more empathy for her being the person supporting an entrepreneur, because I'm not used to like doing household things and cooking or or having the kids around or whatever. It's like that was her, traditional roles in the marriage, and she was doing the cooking and the cleaning and being the kid and being with the kids, and I was off doing my thing. And then now it's like, well, shit, if she's got her thing going on and I got my thing going on, it's like, well, I have to support her in her role just like she has to support me in my role. So like, dude, I've been learning how to cook. You know what I mean? Like, I'm at the house cooking up some steaks, you know what I mean? She's coming home late, but I had the kids for the last couple of hours. It's completely changed the dynamic of our relationship in a really positive sense, because it's given both of us a perspective into what it's like being on the other side of the table. And now she is excited to get up in the morning. She's like, it's hard work, but I love doing it. Seeing her like really grab a hold of it and go for it has been super cool for me.
What have you noticed in your respect levels for each other?
Oh, always, increase for sure.
Yeah.
On both, like I said, on both ends. Yeah. Where because I don't think that a lot of dudes would have been willing to go be mom. Mm-hmm. Go be stay-at-home dad sometimes, where if you want, my thing is like, if you want to build something together, then both of you have to be on board for all of the things. Like you can't expect that your wife is going to be this like producer entrepreneur and then also be a full-time mom and also take care of the household and also do all the cleaning and also do run the insurances and the taxes and all that kind of stuff. It's like, well, if you're gonna also do some of these other things, it's going to require you to be around. I know the game. I know you're an entrepreneur now. Like, you're going to have to do a bunch of other shit, which means that I have to pick up the slack for you, and then I have to figure out how to still accomplish all of my things while picking up some of the slack for her, and then she's got to figure out how to pick up the slack for me. Like, I was just in Miami. I was at Aspire, and it was a full week trip. I was in Austin for a couple of days, went to Miami for a few days, went to Chicago for a couple of days, and then came back home. I was gone 8 days, and she was at home with both the kids and the store, but then I come back home, and then I got my son all week. He's on spring break. And so I did like 17 podcast interviews this week. He was home with me the whole time. Yeah. Because she's at the store, so it's both of us picking up slack for each other. And to me, it's like, if you're not on the same team, man, like, what are you doing? We're in this thing together. Like we have to look at it like we're teammates. It's not just like, oh, you do your thing, I go do my thing, and then we also happen to have kids. It's like, well, we're on a mission to build the life that we want for us. Mm-hmm. So we're enrolling each other in that mission constantly.
Well, that whole piece too of you having the respect because you get the new experience. Mm-hmm. Most guys never have that experience. What's wild to me is watch guys who have producing women, mm-hmm. but they still expect the producing woman to do all the things like she was a stay-at-home mom and be the entrepreneur or the professional. Mm-hmm. I'm like, are you fucking retarded, dude? Yep. Like, how could she possibly do all those things? Right. And then, by the way, you expect her to be in lingerie, do a striptease, and blow you every night.
Exactly.
You're like, okay, so hold on. So you want this woman to go work, take the kids to school, mm-hmm. clean the house, do the laundry, do all the things. Then at the end of that day,
after 13 hours,
take a shower, put on some lingerie with her tits out, sit on your face, and then you're going to go to sleep after you come.
Yeah, right.
But this is how fucking stupid we are to do so. Like, because there's literally, that's a thought of like, yeah, that's probably how it should work.
Right.
And then but it's like one thing that you have like women who are producing who make some money And then you have women who are producing that make a lot of money, and the dynamic changes. Like for Danielle and I, like my wife makes a couple million take home a year with her hair businesses. And they run with her working about 10 hours a week. That's why Jeff and her have been talking a lot. Because Jeff's like the process system man of everything.
Yeah.
And so she's like, how do I take this? So he's like, I'm very interested. So we've been talking about this. So, but she can do that, and it offset our relationship. It shifted our marriage from a game of need. I need you. Like when I cheated on her, she was pregnant with our second daughter. She was pregnant. Like what the fuck was I thinking? I mean, Jesus, dude. Like, are you? I look back and I'm like, how stupid. You not only have you fucked all your businesses, you have no money. Now you're starting to let other women into your world and emotionally feed you while your wife is pregnant. The crazy part of the time was my wife's like, I wasn't even angry. I was just disgusted with you. She's like, I didn't want you anyways. That was when she actually birthed her hair brand. Was when we lived in Gilbert, Arizona.
Oh, wow.
And she was stockpiling money in a bank account to leave me.
Wow.
I didn't know she was making money. I'm like, your hairstylist, how much are you making? My wife was making like 30 grand a month.
Wow.
And just putting the money into a Wells Fargo account that she had set up, she didn't tell me about. Forcing me to figure my shit out, which I'm grateful for.
Sure, yeah.
Like, now, I cheated on my wife now? Oh, dude, she's fucking gone in 2 seconds. But so listen, I realize it's a money show, so let's wrap this onto the money topic and help people understand, like, this conversation is literally the most relevant conversation you will have about making money as a producing man.
100%.
Because the game, if you look at the reverse, I call it reverse engineer production. If the business is the problem, we come back and say, okay, cool, here's the deal. It's not because you don't know what to do. It's because you can't see clearly. It's because you're blind. And you're being stupid and you're not doing the basic shit you need to do to make the business work. So when guys will come into our world, I'll let them talk about the business, and I'm like, cool, you got a money problem. Got it. Let's come back and look at the 3 tanks that actually fuel that.
Yeah, right.
Because if you got 3 flat tires, you want to tell me that you got a problem, you're running out of gas. Bro, you got 3 flat tires. You can't drive fast no matter how much gas we put in this thing. So don't talk to me more about Facebook ads and how your meta counts and the algorithms. I need to run a better sales funnel. I need better copy. I'm going to use ChatGPT rice and more copy. No fucking idiot. You are literally draining every day.
Yeah.
So you come back over to a guy, and this happens so much for us. You see the problem in the business, you come back and say, talk to me about what's going on in the marriage. I'm like, what are you talking about? Well, how's your communication? How often are you having sex? What kind of sex are you having? Do you feel wanted, respected, and desired by your woman? Inevitably. If you have a business that's having problems, you can draw that line back to the source of where this dude is not getting fuel, communication's gone to shit, hiding and lying, sex has become ridiculous, it's basically vaginal masturbation once in a while is chore, and the guy doesn't feel wanted or respected at all, which then perpetuates even more fuckery in the business.
Oh, for sure.
Back and forth and back and forth.
It can
and back
create
and forth.
even like a subconscious desire to fail.
Yes.
Because you kind of want to sabotage her and her well-being and her wealth. And so you have you're playing the game with blinders on because you kind of want to see what's going to happen. You know, like you're kind of putting her in the struggle bus alongside with you because we're both going to be sitting in this fucker together, you know?
So I've been in life insurance for a long time, and I have a partnership that I run a bunch of stuff with, and we'll have guys come in and sit with them to kind of put some of the plan together. We call it vaults, like cash saving vaults, high investment grade premium life insurance contracts. We've been doing it for like 20 years. So he'll come back and my partner will be like, hey, so-and-so is like dragging his feet. I was like, well, do you know why he's dragging his feet? He's like, why? Because he wants to leave his wife. What man gives a shit about trying to protect the kingdom that he wants to burn already? He doesn't care about death benefit because he already wants to be done with his woman. Number one. Number two, he doesn't care about saving money because he's going to lose half of it anyways.
Right.
So unless we can fix this marriage situation for him, he's not implementing this plan. And the financial services world is just stupid. They don't even understand. They're like, oh, but the numbers. I was like, fuck the numbers. This dude doesn't care about the numbers. This dude is desperate. He's going to burn this shit to the ground. Desperate dudes burn shit to the ground. I was sitting, dude, at my house, I had like 6 different conversations in my house last week. With guys in our backyard talking about it. Left my wife, just got divorced 2 years ago, just did this, just all because of this one thing. I couldn't get my marriage to work. And we get married young. I'm gonna assume I'm not gonna marry soon. Was she your first?
Yes.
Okay, and were you her first? Mm-hmm. Dude, it's so fucking hard, bro.
Yeah.
No point of reference, no perspective, no understanding. It's not like you like.
Oh, we had to struggle for years before we had like good sex.
How could you have good sex, right?
Right.
What do you know?
Right.
Like, my wife's only been with me. Like, how could she actually know? So, like, there's this piece in money that guys don't look at, which is, it's not about, like, I don't know what to do. No, it's you don't have the capacity to do what's required consistently over time to get the result that you want. Oh, I'm going to listen to another money podcast. Yeah, you are. Ain't going to do shit.
Right.
How many times you say with dudes, you tell them exactly what to do. Do this, 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 this in the business. Do these 4 things in this order and do them every day. And they don't do it.
6 months later, same problem. Yeah.
Nothing changed. Back at another conference, back at another event, back at another whatever. Which is why these men need to wake up. This is why I like Man Arena Tour, I'm so passionate about, because putting men in a room like this, 7,000 at the same time with the training lineup that we have and the way we know how to train men, we can create an explosion inside that arena for a man to give himself permission to actually wake up. Because when a dude wakes up, he looks around and he goes, holy shit, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like you had your moment with the church. I had my moment with the church. You had your moment with your wife. I had my moment with my wife. And then, bam, you wake up, you're like, yeah, I can't do this anymore. It's wild. You're like, how did I think this was going to be a good idea? And then you start to shift.
Yeah.
Now, talk to me about the kids. How do kids change the game for you? As an entrepreneur, you got a 5 and a 3-year-old.
Yeah, 4.
4 and a 3-year-old.
Yeah, she. My daughter's 4, my son's 5.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. We had our daughter around the same time I was starting business, and my son was 18 months. And that like next 6 months, I basically was like, I don't even know which way is up. I don't know how I'm going to even open my eyes to like do anything today, let alone have a productive, energetic day. And then from there, man, like what I didn't expect was that I would actually care less about business and care more about being with my family. Because you're young dudes, you just don't think that that's going to affect you. You know what I mean? And then it did. It was one of the biggest things that I've asked this question actually to a bunch of people where I'm like, did you ever experience a loss of some ambition when you had kids? Because I thought it would be the opposite. I thought it'd be like, well, now I have a reason to go. Like that's a why, and it's like, and that is true to a certain extent. But also, I never thought twice about leaving before to go do what I got to do. Now every time I leave, man, it's like, do I really got to go on this trip? Like, do I really got to go spend like 7 days away from my kids? Like I'm going to miss them a lot. I was not expecting that. And that's probably been one of the bigger adjustments for me is like reconnecting and reigniting like the young, hungry, that hunger inside of me again, rather than just being like, I don't know, playing video games with my son is a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, it's pretty cool.
Well, you get guys to go, in our experience, you have guys who go one or two ways, right? So they'll go that way, which is a deep sense of like, I kind of don't give a fuck about this business thing because I really just want to be with my wife and kids. And then you get the opposite, which is the pressure of, shit, I've got 2 kids.
Right.
And a wife. I've got to provide for them.
Yeah, and set an example.
And I've got to set a standard for abundance for my family. And they'll go the other direction, which is they'll just become obsessed with business. And they'll work even more. And so you got this toggle one direction. And there's ups and downs to both sides. The dude that spends all the time with his family, he's building the relationships, he's bonding. You know what's wild about it, though? If, like, let's imagine I was stupid and I brought a pistol, I had a Glock in my bag, and I just fucking shot you right now, dead here. I go to jail, etc. Your kids won't remember you.
Yeah.
Isn't that fucking crazy?
It's pretty wild, man.
Your kids literally would not remember you.
I had cancer last year.
Wow.
And so that was another big wake-up call. And that was one of the craziest revelations that I had during that was like, holy shit. Like, if this is it for me, they're going to have to talk to my wife to hear what Dad was about. Like, they're going to have to go back and listen to my podcast or like go watch YouTube videos of me to remember who I was. Cause they're too young. They're not going to remember like anything about it.
What's up with it now?
I'm totally good now, in remission now. Yeah. Everything's good now. But yeah, it was a 3 or 4 month kind of big scare, For those listening, yeah, he just removed his entire lower level of teeth.
So I had cancer too.
Yeah.
And battled for about a year. That shifted a lot of my thinking about life because I was on death's door. I did have the look. I know the look on the doctors' faces. But I was young, dude. I was like 23.
Oh, wow.
So when it happened, when I got married to my son's mother, young, just like you and your wife. Young, religion, we only got married because we want to have sex. So fucking stupid. I got a plan. I want to put my penis in your vagina. You know what we should do? We should get married. Oh my God! Now I'm so grateful because my son is incredible. I love my son to death. He's like, love this boy. And that's a really stupid reason to get married.
It definitely is. Yeah.
So and it wasn't. And then we both were. It was like I'd had more experience, way more experience than she had, but still. She had never, and so it still was like, what the fuck just happened? Both of us looked at each other the day after we got married. We're like, what have we done? This was a bad plan. So she gets pregnant the first month we're married, and I get cancer 2 weeks later after we find out she's pregnant. All at the same time. So like my son, because I'm not proud of this, but we got separated. I went through the cancer. My wife at the time did not even show up to the hospital after my surgeries, because true heart of hearts, when she got honest with me years later, she hoped I died. Because it would have been a lot easier out for her. Because if I died, which I understand.
The church would have understood.
Yeah, oh, God. Oh, exactly. Yeah. He died. Then she could be the widow, and then she could move on. Because to try to divorce, that's like fucking chaos, right?
Yeah.
So I come out of that situation. I get better. We're still in chaos. My son's 9 months old, and we get separated like 3 times in a row, and then we get divorced. And then I do my best. He lives in Canada. I go back and forth to try to be with him. I don't have any money. I was fucking broke. I had doctors that were like contributing, saying God told them to help me, which I'm so grateful because I got on to help so many people because of it. I'd be dead. They paid for it. My insurance wouldn't cover certain things. It was like a fucking nightmare. And that scenario at that time, I tried to tell my son when I go back, because when he was 5 or he was 6 years old, it would be the last time I would see him until he was 17. I didn't have one conversation with him.
Wow.
It was the time I met my wife, Danielle, and I just unplugged. I hated his mother. I didn't want anything to do with the country of Canada, because she was Canadian. And I was like, fuck the Canadians. Fuck all their hockey. And fuck all this
stupid
bullshit.
Maple
I'm tired
syrup.
of fuck all these Canadians. Now, my son's Canadian, he's American, and I got a lot of Canadian friends who basically like are cheering for Canada to become the 51st state of the United States. So I hang out with certain kind of Canadian, like not sorry Canadians. I hang out with like the entrepreneurs who grind and are always here in the States. But that time I didn't see him for 10 years. And then I went back into his world at 17.
Wow.
And had the cash to be able to insert myself, meaning to pay for him his mom needed stuff, and I had tons of money at the time again, so I could help, and I could pay for college, I could do all the things, so I bought my way back in. But my son now at 25 appreciates, because I was 23, he's 25, engaged, and like they've been kind of engaged trying to figure out if they're actually going to get married, had a pregnancy scare. But I look at him, I was like, can you imagine now? You're 25, almost 26. Put yourself in my situation. I was 23. Your mother got pregnant with you. I get cancer. We live in government-subsidized housing. We have women and infant children, WIC, which is like government food stamps, to try to get food. So I know I fucked up. And put yourself in my shoes. Could you imagine having this all go down to you right now? You've been raised in abundance with me and your mother. She's got married a really wealthy dude. Whatever. It's just like totally different. And like instilling that in my kids. Kids are like the greatest gift. And also kids are a cock blocking, business interrupting, life fucking up nightmare.
Yep.
And I love the shit out of them.
Right.
But they're like my business.
Exactly.
I love my business, and I'm like, fuck this business.
Exactly. It's literally anything in life worth having is also the worst possible thing imaginable. Marriage, kids, business, like anything that's going to be awesome is going to require some not awesome things.
For sure.
You know? But it's part of what makes you who you are along the way.
But your experience, we call it at Warrior, we call it the trifecta of insanity. I got an idea. I'm going to get married. It'll be easier. I got an idea. It will have kids. It'll be more fun.
Save the marriage.
I got an idea. Why don't I be an entrepreneur also? And all of a sudden you're like, wow, I've just moved myself into the Bermuda Triangle of fucking chaos. What have I done to myself? This is why like most of our focus over the years has been with that particular subset of guy.
Yeah.
But what I'm really interested in doing is reaching younger guys now. Because like most of my guys are 40 to 60.
Yeah.
And we're dealing with the aftermath of the chaos. Like guys who didn't have the conversation you had 6 years ago, they avoided it. They had the 2 babies, maybe 3, maybe 4. They're now 18 years down the road marriage. They've been in a sexless marriage. Dude, I have guys who have not had sex in 6 years.
Oh, man.
Bro, 6 years. Bro, I can't go 6 days. Like 6 days, like here's how it goes. Like day 1, I'm like, I'm good. Day 2, I'm like, I'm still good. Day 3, I'm like, I'm kind of feeling not so good. Day 4, I'm like, man, really starting to feel a little some kind of way. Day 5, I'm like, yeah. Day 6, I'm like,
Those couch cushions look really sexy right now. Yeah.
Dog hump the pillow. I'm like, Jesus, dude. I'm waking up with hard-ons. I'm like, this isn't good. I need to get this handled. Day 7, I'm like, I don't know if she's the one anymore. I think she might not be. Day 8, I'm like, I swear to God, I'm just going to leave her right now. I can't do it. Day 9, I'm like, that's it. I'm out of here. I'm getting a hooker right now. I'm done with this. Can't do it.
Yeah.
I'm joking with my wife, so she'll see it like a clock. She'll look in my eyes. I'm like, I'm not being needy or anything. I'm just saying, look in my eyes, woman. Do you see what's going on in my eyes?
Start moving more animalistic at some point.
Exactly. I was like, this is called
Can't avoid the biology.
I was like, I'm not having the wet dreams at 49. That's not happening, okay? I'm too damn old to be having a wet dream. That shit does not happen. This is why we got married.
Yeah, dude, it's so fun. I appreciate the work you do in the world, though, man, because I see a lot of young men searching for some form of masculinity, and unfortunately, I think a lot of them are being pulled into kind of that Andrew Tate style of like, avoiding marriage and just get a divorce and get with a bunch of other girls and have 6 baby mamas and 12 kids with all of them and just have your best friends and fuck being with women. And it's like,
it's a weird play, dude.
It's
very weird.
It's
for
also
kids.
just statistically a terrible plan for happiness.
Well, it won't work.
Right.
Like, it won't work. Like, how old are you?
I'm 32.
32. Okay. This is so wild. Because I was like, that age is when I lost everything and went to the fucking pit of hell, which is like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, I look at young men today, like guys in their late 20s and early 30s, and you have some that are married, but most are not. In Miami, holy shit, it's like everywhere, dude. And I'm just looking in these guys' eyes, and they are so desperate for a father figure, male leader to say, this is the way. Because there's no, most boys, most of us as men, think about the system. Church, most of the instructors were soft and or women. School, most teachers were women. So if you continue this along, most of society has trained men to be men by women. My mother is aggressive. Irish, she was Catholic, then she became Mormon, and she kept a little bit of her Catholicism mixed in a little Mormon cocktail. So I had an even bigger checklist of like, my dad, soft as shit. Very soft, never collided. It was hardly around. I understand because my mom was so fierce, he didn't have any weapons to defend himself. I just hope my dad got laid. I didn't even know if it happened. I have no idea. At least happened 5 times. There's 5 kids. But my mom, even though she was so committed to us as kids, she doesn't have a penis. She doesn't wake up with a heart on. She's not even tried to pee with a heart on. You ever tried to pee with a heart on?
It's not easy.
No, bro, it's an art.
You just got to get in the shower.
Yeah, dude, I've tried it from the angle.
There's a
and I'm like from a distance, but then your stream's starting to go down, so you have to like start closing the gap to the toilet. You're like, oh shit, get to the toilet.
There's a great movie. I'm trying to remember what it is, but it's Zac Efron, and they're just like all I remember is this mental picture of him just laying horizontally on top of the toilet, peeing directly like down into it.
That could work. That's a good strategy. That would solve your distance gap problem. Yeah. Well, dude, listen, with some of the gear I'm on for bodybuilding right now,
Yeah.
I just have I wake up with raging hard on.
That makes a lot of sense.
And I'm like, dude, you got to calm down right now. We got to piss. I need you to get yourself in check. I'm going to meditate, doing some breath work. I'm like, come on, this testosterone's amazing, but I need you to really tone it down right now. We're going to try to get this piss out.
Well, listen, dude, I appreciate you for coming on, man. I know you got a bunch of other stuff to do tonight and got to get going. Narrow it down for somebody listening, and we've kind of gone all over the place, talked mostly about marriage and relationships and things like that.
Yeah.
But obviously, you can't pretend. You can't pretend like we're singular focused beings. We are holistic in nature, and if one of these areas is off, then it's going to affect every other area, and it's only going to become worse. It just gets into this self-fulfilling loop where you are having a bad marriage, and it bleeds into your work, and then you have bad work, and then bad work causes more problems in the marriage, and then if you have problems with money, that's problems in the marriage, and then problems in the marriage, is problem with money. It's just it all kind of goes in and fulfills that even more. What's the first, if we're going to boil it down at the end of this conversation into what's one big practical piece of information that somebody listening to this can just go okay, I can do that?
So here's the premise of this game. If I cannot be honest about where I am, then anything that I say I want is a fantasy. A foundation of fiction leads to a future of fantasy. A foundation of facts leads to a bigger future based in reality. So, Man in the Arena Tour, the intention is to create an environment, like we have already proven for 13 years with 70,000 men, that a man could step into the arena, but right now, in most areas of his life, he's sitting in the stands as a spectator watching the gladiators around him fight, scrolling social media, looking at people crushing it, and wondering, what the fuck is wrong with me? How am I going to make this happen? Stepping into that arena allows a man to have an experience in one day that gives him a shot. And then with the systems and tools and process and weapons that we perfected, being able to leave the arena with those tools in his hand to be able to do that. Because it's as simple as that. Here's where I am. Here is the truth of where I am. And from that place, enter into a relationship with God that guides him to a new future. A death and rebirth, a laying down of his life for the establishment of a new life, just like you and your wife have done. Everything you guys have been pursuing, everything you've been pushing has been a death and rebirth. We were this way, now we're not. Now we're this way. Now we're going to die again, and we're going to go here. We call it pit to peak. Pit to peak. So no matter what you're doing with conversation money, you're doing conversation marriage, you're doing conversation your body, you're doing conversation of God, your kids. This is a holistic game that we play here at Wake Up Warrior. It's a holistic game with all the movement makers that have come together, 9 different men's movements coming together to put together the Man in the Arena Tour at manarenatour.com for one simple purpose, to give 7,000 men a shot at rebirth, to elevate their marriages, elevate their families, elevate their money, elevate their bodies, elevate their conversation community with God. If that is possible, which we know it is, then we will start a soul war. And this is one of the many stops on the tour. This intention, May 17th, happening in Salt Lake City, Utah, at the Mavic Center, back to origin where a lot of my movement makers started. This whole thing is the beginning of what we are now, the modern version of the Promise Keepers. Promise Keepers was the last large movement that happened in the U.S. before you were born. Happened 30 years ago, and they filled stadiums with 50,000 men every weekend.
Wow.
It was soft compared to what we are, but life is different now. 30 years passed. We live in a different world. So this tour is a good place to start. It's a beautiful place to start. All the resource and tools, pre-training happens before the event happens. We've already sold several hundred on the first day. We opened up ticket sales yesterday. We'll sell out all these tickets. We'd love to have you there. You can check more out at maninthearenatour.com. We'll have them put the links here with it. And
sweet.
Thank you.
maninthearenatour.com. So if you are a dude, you're watching this, listen to this, please be sure to go check that stuff out. It's Salt Lake City, Utah, May 17th?
May 17th.
May 17th. Garrett, thanks so much for doing this, man. Appreciate you as always. We'll have to have a part 3 at some point.